In light of the Me Too campaign, there has been an outpouring of sexual assault allegations in Hollywood, and among them has been one against Kevin Spacey. This comes from Anthony Rapp. We just talked about him in my last video. He plays Lieutenant Stamets on Star Trek Discovery, but he was also in Rent and several other big-name productions. He's a pretty well-known actor with a very established career, and his story took place in 1986 when he was 14 years old. Apparently what happened is Kevin Spacey befriended him when they were both on Broadway. Kevin Spacey was 26 at the time. He invited Anthony and one friend to a club. They spent a little bit of time together. Nothing happened. And Spacey invited him to his place for a party. Rapp went to the party and was the only underage person there. He didn't know anyone, so he got bored and went to watch TV in one of the bedrooms. After midnight, he realized that everyone else must have gone home and got up to go and realized that Kevin Spacey was standing drunkenly swaying in the doorway. Kevin Spacey came and picked him up bridal style, put him in a bed, climbed on top of him and tightened his arms around him and tried to get a hold of him to make a sexual advance on him. Rapp managed to squirm away and hide in the bathroom, and then he abruptly left Spacey's house, and Kevin Spacey followed him to the door and asked if he was sure he wanted to leave. Again, this is a 26-year-old man sexually assaulting a teenager. I don't care how famous he is. I don't care what a good actor he is. I don't care how successful he is. This is a grown-ass man assaulting a teenager. So, apparently it took Rapp a very long time to come forward. As Spacey began to become more prominent, it brought up a lot of feelings, and Rapp slowly confessed to friends and family and people close to him, and he even talked about it publicly, but he never revealed who the person was because of the clout that Spacey has in the industry. Rapp said that the reason he came forward now is because of the Weinstein allegations and the Me Too campaign and all of the other people coming forward, and that made him feel safer coming forward with his own story. So I'm going to read a little bit of his statement. He says, "I came forward with my story standing on the shoulders of the many courageous women and men who have been speaking out to shine a light and hopefully make a difference as they have for me." So he doesn't really have any skin in this game. You know, he went and already checked to see if there was any way he could do anything about it in terms of a legal standpoint with a lawyer. It seems like this is a pretty well substantiated allegation in terms of people backing up certain claims that he's been making for years. He's also not the only person who has accused Kevin Spacey of sexual assault or sexually inappropriate behavior. And it's disgusting. It's just another upsetting story of a man taking advantage of a vulnerable person. And there's another important thing that we need to talk about with regards to this story, because Kevin Spacey responded to this allegation. He responded on Twitter. I'm just going to read his response in full and address it. So the first part goes as follows. I have a lot of respect and admiration for Anthony Rapp as an actor. I'm beyond horrified to hear his story. I honestly do not remember the encounter. It would have been over 30 years ago. But if I did behave then as he describes, I owe him the sincerest apology for what would have been deeply inappropriate drunken behavior, and I am sorry for the feelings he describes having carried with him all these years. If the statement stopped there, I would say that that was actually a pretty brave response. If he genuinely doesn't remember, then that's a pretty good response. If he's lying and trying to make himself look better, which is kind of what I suspect based on the second part of this, because it seems like he's trying to deflect blame and make it less something he needs to be accountable for if he doesn't remember it, and he, made a point to mention how long ago it was. So I don't know. It's an okay apology. At least he's not out openly denying the allegations, and at least he acknowledges the pain of the other person, which I think is pretty unique to the usual kinds of apologies we get from these people who are, the "I'm sorry you're offended" types, or "I'm sorry I hurt your feeling," or "I'm sorry your feelings are hurt" types, not the "I'm sorry I did anything," the "I'm sorry it's your problem" types. But I I would have had a little more respect for him if this is where it stopped. But it's not. This story has encouraged me to address other things about my life. I know that there are stories out there about me, and some have been fueled by the fact that I've been so protective of my privacy. As those closest to me know, in my life I have had relationships with both men and women. I have loved and had romantic encounters with men throughout my life, and I choose now to live as a gay man. I want to deal with this honestly and openly, and that starts with examining my own behavior. Kevin Spacey. This is not the time for you to come out. This is not the time for a coming out story. This is not the time to make the narrative about you and your struggle and your feelings. If you want to examine your behavior, examine this behavior. What you are doing by coming out as gay in the same sentence as the same statement as potentially admitting to sexually assaulting a child is continuing to link the idea of the LGBTQ community and pedophilia. This is an established thing that gay people have been killed for decades. The fact that you would have the audacity to do that, to make this your time to finally put these rumors to bed, to finally address your sexuality, now is when you want to do it, when you're being accused of sexually assaulting a child? Are you fucking kidding me? This is disgusting. This is unacceptable. This is outrageous. I can't believe a person would actually think that it's remotely appropriate to make a story about someone else's sexual assault about them. It would honestly have been better for him not to respond at all. I can't believe he said this. It sickens me. And it's really upsetting because I know that this is going to translate into another example that people use to legitimize the idea that masculine gay couples shouldn't be allowed to adopt. Because they'll say, well, look at this gay sex abuse. We shouldn't allow that. It's already an argument people use, and now they have another way to support that argument because you've given it to them on a silver platter by announcing you're coming out in the same fucking statement where you're addressing your sexual assault of a child. It's unbelievable. I'm so outraged by this. This is just the worst fucking apology in the entire universe. And it's gonna have such real consequences for people. And of course it doesn't matter to him. He's rich. No one can pursue anything legally. All the allegations against him are just that, allegations. He'll never see any consequences. But the reality is he tried to have sex with a 14-year-old. We're lucky that, or Anthony Rapp is lucky that he was able to get away without something worse happening to him. This is predatory, disgusting behavior. I don't care that he was drunk. I don't care if he remembers it. And at least he acknowledged it. But the fact that he acknowledged it and then tried to deflect by getting people to talk about his sexuality is just despicable. I am so disappointed. Kevin Spacey was one of my favorite actors and I wanted to continue liking him, but I can't ignore the fact that he sexually assaulted someone. So I guess the thesis of this video is don't have any heroes, don't like any celebrities, everyone is scum, and Kevin Spacey is trash. I am just utterly disappointed in today. So that's everything I have for you. Auf Wiedersehen, bitches.